bringing to you sex.
Let's talk about sex,
baby.
Let's talk about you and me.
Let's talk about All right.
That's supposed to do the pleasure people.
Pleasure, sex, all of the above. So
let's just jump right into it. Let's start with virginity.
Does virginity exist?
Truth or myth?
Yeah, I mean, I would personally say that, like, it's a social construct. It mainly is like, oh, like, to keep women pure, because there's this whole concept of how women have to be better than men. Like, you can't, like, I feel like there's really no concept of taking a man's virginity other than them having sex for the first time. But for women, it's different because it's like we have like that whole hymen thing, and then it's like you popped your cherry, you bleed, and all of that.
And people think you become emotionally connected to the person you lose it to.
Yeah,
I think that we only feel like that way because we're conditioned to by society. Like, they put such a big emphasis on, oh, wait for the right guy, yada yada. But guys, like, no, go on, get out there, so you're good for the right girl.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And I think it's really confusing. I think that when I was younger, when I was a teenager, virginity was such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And but it wasn't a big deal like I wanted to say, but it was a big deal like all of my friends had lost it, and I was like the last one, and I was really young, you know? I was like 15, and I was like, oh my god, I need to catch up and be an adult right now. And I wasn't ready for that.
So young.
That's crazy to me that, like, I look at, like, these, like just, like, TV shows about, like, teens or whatever, and it's, like, they're 15, 16, 17, and they're like, yeah, oh my god, you haven't lost it, Becca? What's wrong with you? And it's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, when I was in middle school, girls were like 6th grade losing their virginity.
That's horrible. I'm sorry.
Are you old enough to, I mean, like, I'm all for free sex, but are you really, I think you should be old enough to and mature enough to understand the repercussions of it, emotionally, physically, financially.
Getting pregnant,
you know?
Like, what if that happens? I see these girls on 16 and pregnant. I'm like, where are they getting this money for?
Yeah, 16 and pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like the whole, like, virginity talk, it's like, okay, like, I mean, we'll do, like, ultimately, like, do what you feel is comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to lose your virginity in 6th grade, go for it. But like you said, you do have to know the repercussions. You do have to know what you're up against, you know? But, like, if that's your time and you feel like you're ready, okay, absolutely.
Well, we have health class in, like, 6th grade, so they show you videos, like, in 6th grade of women giving birth.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, that the problem I have with, like, sex education nowadays. It's way too...
focus on preventative. Like,
no,
it's
not
like,
even preventive. It's too medical. It doesn't show the realities of sex. They're talking about it from such a, like... technical point of view. They don't talk about, like, you know what, no, like, when you're, like, this age, like, you start to have these feelings and these physical urges, and that's okay. You know, and, like, sometimes you'll really like somebody, and then you'll have, you know, sex with them, and you won't feel the same way, and that's okay, too.
Yeah.
I feel like no one talks about that. Everyone just talks about, like you said, like, preventative measures, or abstinence, and everything, and all those things are important.
HIV and all that stuff became really big in, like, the 80s and all that stuff, so... They know that these kids are having sex, so it's like we gotta make sure they know what they're doing.
But exactly, and I feel like that's what people aren't talking about, like what you're physically up against. They're like, oh, just don't have sex because it's bad and you'll die. You know what I mean?
It's like 8th grade, I used to go to this youth program, and this lady brought like a wooden penis and showed us how to put a condom on the thing.
Really?
Well, I mean, I could see that happening there.
They do that in health class with bananas. They put the condom
I've never had a health class like that.
Bananas?
Yeah.
But it's so shocking just seeing, like, wow, it's actually happening. I'm finally at this age where I'm in this class getting these tips. You know, you see it. They're probably growing up on TV and movies, and it actually happens. I think teach them first so that later on they could use it. Doesn't mean, okay, is it my turn to now do that?
Right.
No. It's also how you were raised, or basically it's kind of like a social thing as well. Who are you talking to? What friends are doing that? Because you see people might get caught up in it, and you might be the talk of the school, and that's could have an effect on you emotionally. You might not show it, but if there's gossiping going around about girls, because like you say, Vicky, people have these type of terms they have for girls, like, oh, she's fast, or she has sex.
She's a hoe.
Rumors go around, and that could affect you in different ways. So I think you just be careful about it. I mean, stay in a child's place. I'm more traditional, you guys know.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. I think everyone's entitled to... The thing about sex is everyone's entitled to feel exactly how they feel, what makes them feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
And if you're a more conservative person, like, you have every right to feel that way. And, you know, like, that's good for you. And if you're someone who is more open to casual sex with people that they don't really know...
Yeah, not even that, because
casual,
not casual. I mean, because I believe different things of that as well. I just, that with grown people, do what you want to do, casual and not casual. That's another thing. Guys have casual sex, but if a girl does it, then she's fast. No, I don't even care about that part.
Yes.
I'm talking about kids having sex at a young age.
Well,
I feel
it's
especially
different.
in
It's
society.
creepy.
Do you have a job? What if something happens? You get pregnant, or it's just even an emotional factor. If a guy, like, if you're with a guy, those are a whole bunch of different energies, and if you're sleeping around being promiscuous, that's different energies. And I just think a child should be in a child's place, be in your books or whatever. Go
Have a
out
childhood.
socially.
Yeah, 'cause
You don't.
sex is like a whole different ballgame.
It puts you in
It's
a
a grown
different
thing. You're gonna
mindset.
feel more.
It changes like a lot of things about your life. Yeah.
Sex is
Like how you
really
interact
down.
with people, like your relationships. Like
How
I
you
remember
view people.
I remember like before I ever had sex, like kissing was the best thing in the world. Like kissing is, in my opinion, still the best thing in the
I
world.
love it.
But like I feel like for men, like their end game is sex. But like for us, like it's more like I just want to be like cared for. In my opinion, this is how I feel. Like, and that's what a kiss is for me, is it's being cared for, it's interacting, you know what I mean? Like that's sometimes enough for me. And I feel like a lot of people, like once you have sex, like it's so different. It's like, this is what I need to do to feel that way. You know what I mean? And I feel like not enough people think of, like, they always have to think of sex as being the be all end all. And it's
Right.
not, you
It's
know?
supposed to be just the natural flow, have that chemistry. That's how you know it's right. If you're forcing something, that, I mean, maybe you're not in the right
Guys are so
position
annoying
right
with
now.
that, with the forcing
Oh my
of it.
God.
Forcing of
So
sex,
annoying.
that's obviously, that could go really
I mean,
wrong.
forcing of
even-
sex is rape.
You
Yeah.
see it in freaking religion, though. So, I mean, it could be covered up as
Yeah, that's crazy. It can be
A good
covered
thing,
up as
but it's
religion,
not.
but if they're not religious, then it's like,
exactly.
you're a raper.
You see people with polygamy. I mean,
Let's
And-
That's
shift,
wild.
let's
Yeah.
shift gears for a second and talk
That's
about
a
body
huge
count.
contradiction.
body
Body
count.
count.
Body count. Now, I mean, we're not here to tell you our body count. That's our own business.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't mean
Doesn't
we're just
matter.
talking about ourselves right now.
Yeah, it's just a
But
general.
In general.
How do you guys
people, in
feel
general.
about that? I mean, I know some people, like, I mean, at least back when I was more immature and, like, inexperienced, I didn't like guys with high body counts because to me, I was just like, oh, you know, like, that just shows, like, he's not patient and he just doesn't care about his body. But you know what? The older I get, the more I'm like, you know what, everybody has a right. Who am I to judge someone else's experiences? And you
Right.
know what, just like I don't want people to judge me on how many people I have been with. I don't want I shouldn't judge anyone else either.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like the ultimate, like, that's how I would want to be treated. I know so many people who, like, they felt like, oh, like, you, like, this, that, and whatever, like, this person hasn't been with this many people, how do I act with them? Like, they get weird, and and it's just, like, it shouldn't really matter, you know, because you're with that person, and it's, like, if it's either, I feel like most of the time, it's either you're learning from them or you're teaching them, you know what I mean? No matter who it is, no matter how many people they've slept with, how many people they haven't slept with, you can learn something from somebody else. So, like, their past, their experience only really makes this present moment better,
Yeah,
you know?
relationships and sex is just like, it's a learning experience to know what you do like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Some people just take it out of like a whole other context.
I have a question for you guys. How do you guys feel about if you were more experienced, you had a higher body count than your partner and vice versa? Like, would you have a preference or does it matter?
Well, I find that people who have higher body counts, I feel like personally for me, like, men will judge me if they have a higher body count. They're like, oh, like, you don't know a lot of this and a lot of that. And it's like, no, because I don't spend my time doing that, you know what I mean?
Some guys do
Yeah,
that.
like-
some guys do that. Some guys, like, it's weird. Like, guys want to have sex with a girl who has like a crazy body count, but then if a girl's body count is like super low, they're like, oh, I don't want to mess with you
Or if
because
she's a
like you're
virgin.
inexperienced.
Yeah.
Or the opposite could be true. Some guys will
You
knock
don't
a
know
girl
what you
because they
want.
think that her body count is too high.
And it's like, okay,
That's
so you're
wrong.
insecure. I feel like that's an insecure thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. I've actually, like, there was this dude in particular who was like, he was like, oh, you're inexperienced in comparison to me. I'm going to bring you to, like, a brothel, like an orgy. And I was like,
What?
No,
I literally, I swear to God, and I was just like, I'll think about it. Like, open, you know what I mean? I didn't outright say no because, like, that sounds like a cool experience, to be honest. No, I just think it's just interesting, like, that really exists. You know what I mean? Like, not just on Law and Order
What is it,
SVU, you know?
The Bunny Ranch? Is it?
I have no, I literally, I didn't.
That's a legal brothel in Nevada.
Nevada? Yeah.
But they do have, you're right, they have
Yeah.
sex clubs. Like in the state, there's a sex club.
Absolutely.
And they have like,
And
you
I
know,
find
private
it
organized
so,
ones.
like, interesting that it's like, wow, like, you have a connect. Like,
Like
I'm
swingers, like a swinger.
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. And I was just like, okay, I'll keep it in mind. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know, I'll think about it. He's like, what do you mean you'll think about it? I was like, I will think about it. Like, I don't want to do that right now.
People do that, but like, what do you mean? Exactly what I just said.
Yeah, like, and I mean, I just find that, like, I don't know, I found it just, like, annoying, because it's like, okay, like, I'm not as experienced as you, why does it bother you, you know? Like, why does it bother you that I'm in a different place in my life than you know what I mean? Like, not all of us are running to the finish line, you know? Like, I'm just living my life, you know? And I feel like a lot of people are, like, bothered by it, but I personally am not. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. It's just about, like, speaking up, you know, like that's really what sex and relationships are about, is communication and speaking up. And if you don't speak up, like, that's your problem, you know what I mean? And that's something you have to combat on your own.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a double standard there when it comes to body counts, and you see it socially when people make up with the names like dots, and you say that hoe over there is what it's supposed to stand for, but you're only talking about females when you say it.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
my problem.
You
with
have
those words.
so many, and it's all in the mind, really. And I think it's also preference, like you guys were saying, because there may be a guy who says, "I don't care about your past." It's like whoever you dealt with before has nothing to do with what we're dealing with now.
Right.
You know.
Well, I think that what bothers me about terms like thought or hoe is, like, not only is it degrading, but it was an insult that's made specifically to put women down.
And
right.
then when they try to, like, clean it up, like, male whore or
there's no way, because you've never been oppressed, you've never been objectified.
Absolutely.
Like that, the way that women have sexually throughout history.
Absolutely.
So I hate those words. I don't like to use it.
Like,
it is. It's a ridiculous double standard.
But if a woman does it, it's like.
I mean, if someone wanted some advice or anything, maybe I would say if you're having sex for the wrong reasons, with a lot of people, because you're depressed or whatever, you want something, you're trying to fill a void, that may not be a healthy thing. But if you're actually just like, you're a freaky person, you like casual sex, then, I mean, go ahead.
Well, okay, I have a
Your life.
question. I have a question. What makes a girl a hoe? Like, I don't, like, I don't, yeah, like, I don't
it depends on your morals, like your standards.
Right. So it's a subjective thing, is what you're trying to say.
Comparing it to yourself, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, because I feel like for me, like, a hoe, like, hoe sounds dirty. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a lot of casual sex and just be, like, a clean, like, regular person. But, like, when I think hoe, I think, like, dirty, nasty, doesn't wash herself, runs from one house to the other.
Oh,
like,
man, I heard some crazy stories about
like
girls
that.
who are, like, hoes.
Like, I think hoes too is a negative term. It was used in a negative term. I mean, now people always try to turn negative things into positive things to use it as an endearment. Like, that's my hoe, that's my B. Like,
if you're a hoe, be the best hoe you can be.
Exactly.
Like,
but to me, a hoe would be someone who doesn't demand respect from another guy or man or whoever their partner is. And they let them treat them however they want to be.
Speaking about, like, a negative trying to be turned into a positive, how do you guys feel about Amber Rose's slut walk thing?
I like it. I actually was never a huge fan of Amber Rose until recently, and I watched her slut walk video. I watched her show. I see what she has to say. I like what she does because, you know what, she is somebody who is out there trying to build a brand for herself, and she took such a negative stigma, like, of being labeled a hoe or, like, a groupie, and she made a career out of it. And I think there's something very beautiful about that. Yeah. You know, like, it's like a redemption in a way.
I mean, I
think it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know how I really feel about it, but at the same time, I think it's kind of like I'm a human, like I deserve some respect. Too.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that's what it's kind of is.
Yeah.
Like saying, oh, if she wants to be walking around naked, like, let her do it. Instead, it's more like a respect thing.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, like with Amber Rose, a lot of her messages, like, yeah, like, I'm gonna do whatever I want, but like you said, I still demand respect. Like, I can walk around butt naked, and you do not reserve the right to attack me. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
I don't get that. People like, oh, you can't walk around naked, but then they have, like, naked beaches. Like, that
but, like, that's a respect thing, you know what I mean? Like, that nobody attacks somebody or whatever it may be, because, like, that's how the world should be, you know what I mean?
New communities.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't matter how you're dressed, how, like, what you're doing. You don't deserve to be attacked. And I feel like that's fundamentally what she's trying to do with her redemption, you know what I mean? Like, she's trying to just stay, like, listen, like, it doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter what I've done or how much you do or don't like me. I still am a human being,
and I
deserve
like,
that.
You really don't actually know how many men she's had sex with. I think just
people appear.
She was a stripper. She's a hoe. There's many reasons why women strip.
Exactly. That's why I don't like to really judge people unless I actually know them all the way. Unless I'm like, just stating an opinion about something really quick. But I love how she's being open and telling people her opinions about her life, talking about sex, expressing herself freely. It normalizes it almost and makes other people comfortable, and it takes away that stigma that we have.
Yeah, I think some people just don't know how to talk about sex.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. And I think
don't know how to talk about it. Like,
I feel like that comes from just a lack, like I said before, a lack of proper sex education.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A lack of knowledge. That's where it definitely comes from.
And I feel like it's almost your parents' responsibility to talk to your kid about sex. A lot of parents don't want to. It's uncomfortable. They don't want to think about their kids having sex. They think it's not the right time. They have their own ideas. But the reality is, your kid is gonna do it whether you know it or accept it or not. So you might as well, educate them.
Don't even say the birds and the bees.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? I don't know what it is.
I've never understood that phrase, to be
It's a
honest.
weird phrase, right?
Bees, I don't understand.
Just be blunt with it, because that also just makes it almost like it's something weird,
Like
abnormal.
fanatical or something like that.
It's natural.
I have a question. I have a fun question now that we've covered all the seriousness. Does size really matter?
This is an interesting question, only because like I wouldn't say like length matters, but I would say that girth matters.
Length, width.
I think that it's not the size of your boat, but the motion of your ocean.
Okay. You gotta know how to use it.
Listen, you could be with a guy who has a godly trunk, and if he doesn't know what he's doing, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, no.
You know,
that's a terrible
I found
time.
in my own experiences that it is really not about size. Like, you know, like the biggest guy I've ever been with was not the best person I've ever been with. It does not equate to each other.
Yeah.
What about if it's smaller than average? Average is supposed to be, you know, guys, they measure at the ages like
they're so
they
weird.
start measuring
That's
up to,
so weird to me.
and the average is supposed to be, I think 7 inches.
Really?
6, that's a little high. Okay.
Yeah.
Five.
It's
Really?
So
Yeah,
smaller
what?
than average.
the average.
Wow, that's really sad. That's not.
She said 7.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, excuse me. So just from what
I feel like 7 should be an average,
data.
but I just never.
Kenny, you're supposed to get the stats right.
She said 7.
But you know, I mean, I hear women talking about that like a lot. Does size matter? But it may matter to men, because there have been cases where men have actually committed suicide because of their penis size,
This is tragic.
or have had thoughts of suicide because of
Okay,
it.
so I have it. So
Read us the stats.
mini is 4 inches. Small is 5.
Okay.
Average is 6.
Okay.
Large is 7.
Really?
And very large is 8.
So it's close.
Wait,
Average is 6.
so how are people talking about 9 inches then? Because so many people be talking about 9 inches in
guys,
music.
No, there's guys with 9 inches.
This guy's
That
like a
sounds
foot long.
It is
terrifying.
Not. It's uncomfortable.
Terrifying. That sounds horrible.
It's like, since
You
we
will
don't
get a-
know yet,
You will get a UTI. Okay.
Okay.
Be it in your neck or something. Like Jesus. Like.
Is it true that your foot size, depending on your foot size, that might tell you like the size?
No, that's a myth. I think it's relevant. Like, I've had some guys try to spit game. They're like, "Oh, I'm a size 11." I'm like, "But what does that really mean?"
I used to
me?
do that. It's so funny because my mom used to get mad because I used to do this to my little brother because he had big feet. I'd be like, you know what they say. And I'm
Oh
like,
my god.
Big socks.
Oh
big
my
socks.
goodness.
You know,
Big sneakers. And then she
You know
like,
what
it's
I
not
think?
funny.
and also, is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just excited to see me the movie Old School?
Oh my
I think it was just all like little whack lines that people made up.
Oh, what about Big
You look
Mama's
at your
house?
shoe size.
Big Mama's
like-
house when Nia Long and Martin were laying in the bed and he was dressed as Big Mama and she was like, "Big Mama, is that your flashlight?"
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my god, those
I think
movies
it
are
was really
hilarious.
just pick up lines, whack pick up lines. Your shoe is pretty big.
Do we have a mystery topic today, Steph?
What's the mystery topic?
I'm so afraid. Alright, is born again virginity possible?
Spiritually, yes.
Scientifically, no.
Scientifically, no. Physically, no.
Thank
you.
you.
You can't. Actually, you know what? I am almost positive that you can have surgery to reattach the hymen.
Yeah, you
But
can.
who would do that?
I
I'm
just
so
feel like it's a
sorry.
waste of
The
time
hymen,
and money.
That's
Who
what
wants to
I
pay
love-
money for that?
People
I love the way
always
you guys
think
put
that
that.
hymen only breaks like when you have sex.
No, it breaks
can
during
happen, like,
sports, tampons.
sports, like all that stuff. It's
Yeah.
not just sex.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, if you want to go through that spiritual process, because I really think it's all about how you feel about yourself,
Right.
you may want to change and not be with so many people at the time, or you might be trying to settle down.
Right.
And so you want to slow it down. and
But
just,
I don't think you necessarily need to be like, I'm a born again virgin
I
for
don't
that
think
to
it's that
happen.
If
way.
that's, if that's how people want to phrase it to make themselves feel good about themselves, then like by all
Okay.
means go ahead. But you're right. You don't
Yeah.
have to.
What about
Like you-
celibacy or abstinence?
That's boring.
I mean, from like religious purposes,
Like
people do different things.
Sierra and Russell, they celibate or were they abstinent? I think they were celibate.
Yeah, they were.
I feel like if it's like if I don't know, if you're doing it because like you just want like a break or whatever it may be, or if it's not happening for you, that's fine.
I think they were just trying to connect more on like a spiritual level.
Yeah.
And, like,
Look how quick they got married, though.
Yeah.
Didn't last long.
But here's the thing about
what are you
sex,
talking
though,
about?
that
They just got married.
Exactly.
They just got married.
I
Took
mean,
a couple months off. That's
hey,
all.
isn't Ozzy Osbourne? Isn't he addicted to sex?
Yeah, he's battling a sex addiction right now.
That's really stressful. Gosh, you could be
What
addicted.
about women who have those like random orgasms? You know, Tracy Braxton.
I heard about that.
Wow.
Tracy
Horrible.
Braxton suffers from that.
Really?
Like, where she just like
That's
gets
I heard it's
orgasms
painful.
out of
I heard it
nowhere.
gets very painful. Like, you tense up a lot. Because it is, like, when you do have an orgasm, you know, your muscles do tense.
All of them contract at the same time.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That's terrifying.
People
Actually.
like, some
Imagine
girls be like,
having
oh, I
30
want
in a
that. I want that to happen.
Oh my
To me. It's like,
Oh
no,
my God.
no, 'cause
That
you don't
sounds
know how
terrifying.
that feels like.
Yeah,
It
no.
might sound good, but
I've also heard that like people who get like genital piercings, like the way that they move, like they can get orgasms as well, and I find it
I
find
cannot
it
get
hilarious.
genital piercings.
I always
That's
want to
hilarious to
know.
me.
I always want to know, does that actually like arouse you more?
I feel
you
like
have a-
because if you're wearing like tight clothes and like the way that you're moving, if you're walking, you can just be like, bam.
Okay, could we say this on TV? I want to know. Where is it actually pierced? Do you know?
I think
I don't
clitoral
know.
hood.
The
Because
hood.
that's pretty painful. I'm thinking
I
if it
could
just goes
never.
right through that sensitive.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want
part
to.
of your body.
I really don't. This is making
some
me so
guys
uncomfortable. It hurts.
get genital piercings.
Yeah,
The
I
Prince
don't.
Albert or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Genital
I don't
piercing.
understand. I don't understand the
I did hear
hype.
of that.
I don't really get it. I
I've
mean,
never
like,
seen or been with a man who had that.
yeah.
I think that's what you would get if you were called a freak. And is that really a thing?
Freak.
A freak. A freak.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
I feel like freaks are like they're like another level. Like it's like
We
wow.
have to do a whole other episode to
Yeah,
cover that.
that's really a whole other topic
I
because
don't
like
even think we could put most of that on TV, so let's just leave it
Let's
at
keep
this.
it clean.
Go to
kids.
thefemmespot.com.
and we'll have something for you there. But I mean, wow, we covered a lot
That was
today.
a whole
We
lot.
did.
Yeah.
That was definitely overload. But listen,
Oh.
educate yourself on sex.
Men
Um.
who don't want it as much as women want it.
That's
Wow.
happened, and it's not
Very
fun.
That's
yeah,
real.
very few and far between. But like, you shouldn't make them feel bad.
Over
You know,
the-
I
It
feel
shouldn't
like
make anybody feel bad about not wanting to have sex.
I feel like society like expects men to always be like sex charged and be like ready to go, but like they're really not like that.
It's
They're
like,
human
chill
beings, you know, like
But listen, don't be in denial. Like, see the signs. If he's just like cutting you off, maybe he's dating someone else or interested in someone else, or not interested in you any longer, or he might just be tired.
But why would you be with somebody that you're not interested in? Like, I don't know.
A
That's
lot
my
of
personal. Like, I just
Yeah.
be like, peace. I gotta go. Like,
think
I gotta hang on the side. Like, I'm cool.
Like,
Like,
situationships. I think
But
a lot
yeah,
of people.
yeah.
I think a lot of people end up in things and then it's just prolonged, goes longer than it should have been because they're comfortable with that person. You may
Yeah.
like have love for that person. but
Never be comfortable.
Never.
Don't
That's
settle.
what
You
I
have one
say.
life, just
Yeah.
move on, get what you want.
If you're not married, never be comfortable. That's what I've got to say about it.
If you're not married,
If you're not married, never be comfortable.
Never be comfortable.
Because comfort is really the enemy.
well, I mean, some people
Comfort
are married
is-
and
will
they
ruin
aren't
everything.
comfortable.
Yeah, well, I mean it's good. Honestly, if you want to be comfortable and you are with somebody who like you really are like, wow, this is the rest of my life type of person, like that's great, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But like if you're not comfortable and you're or if you don't want something and you're just
Right.
staying in it because it's comfortable, don't do it because you're only compromising for yourself. You're not really making yourself happy. Like
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
not real
kinda
happiness.
That's kind of like if the sex is great, but he's disrespecting you.
Bye.
Oh my god.
Bye.
Some girls will
I gotta
stay
go.
just
It happens
because
a lot.
the
It
sex
happens
is
a
good.
lot.
It does.
It depends. If it's not like that's not your boyfriend, it's just some dude you hit up to have sex, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I
you're-
feel
if
like
you're-
disrespectful men are good for one thing and one thing only. It's true.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes like guys that'll just call you just to have sex, or you're like, damn, he's no good for
Booty
me, but
call.
you still go anyway.
Hey, just don't get your heart in it. Cause
Just
Yeah.
don't get
but
your heart
is it
in
true?
Some
Females,
girls do
we
put their
get
heart in it.
attached.
I feel like I don't know. Well, it depends. It depends.
There are some females who can have sex.
Yeah, like
have
I'm
sex
personally
and
not that
some who
person.
can't.
I can't just be all over somebody and not feel something for them because I just feel like it's so much better like when you really care about somebody and when you really like them. But I mean, I commend the people that do, and I know that there are women that do. I just don't think that I'm one of them.
What about if everything is going great in this relationship? This guy's amazing, everything's good, but the sex sucks.
He can't perform.
He cannot perform.
Can't come through.
I feel like you gotta talk about it. I feel like you gotta talk about
Do you
it.
think? Okay. Do you think if his performance is not great, do you think that there's something that you can teach him? Like it might not be good, but he might not be doing something. He might be doing something that you don't like.
If you have
so
a
you have
good
to show
one,
him.
it's a good
You have
one.
to show him like, okay, I don't like do this instead of doing that.
Because everyone's body's different.
But if you have a discussion and you have it more than once, you try stuff, it just doesn't work out, I really think you need to leave that relationship because
It's not making you happy.
and not only that, but like I feel like sex isn't everything, but it's so important, and I feel like people don't want to acknowledge it because people don't want to come off as shallow, but that's the reality. It's human nature. You know, if you're not being you're satisfied physically, you're gonna lose interest real fast.
That's like in Waiting to Exhale. You remember that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Robin
Yeah.
Williams.
With Angela Bassett?
Yeah, and all of them, I think it was like a part where there was like a sex scene, and I guess he wasn't.
At the end, he was a little thick. Are you talking about that scene?
The big guy.
He was full figure guy,
Yeah.
and she was slimmer than him, and she wasn't really sure if attraction was there, but he was. Everything else was good. He was a good guy, nice to her, really sweet, and she ended up being
And
with
then he
him.
couldn't perform in the bed, and then she was like, "Okay, I don't like when you do this, do that," and then.
And it worked out.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's about like the guy not being a good
Teaching.
performer. It's about what you do and don't like, and if somebody is not doing it the right way.
It's like
Like I
communication.
said, yeah, communication ultimately. I feel like
And if the person actually cares to communicate and asks you what is good and what's not good, that's also a good partner too.
you also have to know like who you are in a relationship sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you have to know if like you're somebody who aims to please other people, you know, or if you're somebody who wants like to be pleased, you know what I mean? Because sometimes that's okay to have that dynamic because you know who you are, but you also have to remember that like those things need to be switched. Like you need to give to other people as well, you know?
Well, that is all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning in. Check us out on the Femme Spot Facebook page
And our Twitter.
and our Twitter.
And we'll see you later.
Thanks for tuning in to the Femme Spot.
Bye.